All right, so let's go over the two trades that I took last week. They were both losses. Nothing wrong with that. You know how we rock. Show you guys the winners, show you guys the losers. No shame. Before we get into it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments how your trading's been. If you're trading this week, it is election week. So if you're trading, let me know down in the comments. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first trade was NZD CAD. And on the weekly, looks like I actually noticed it while I was editing the live setups video this past week. I had mentioned that it was bearish both this past week and I think when I was looking to trade this, but the weekly is in fact bullish. So this is how we look on the weekly. We're still in this range. So the weekly is in fact bullish. This will could play into the reason as to why I took this loss and why I shouldn't even hop in the trade. So we know that the weekly is bullish. Daily was bearish. Hold on, let me put on market replay. What day is this? Monday? Okay, we could keep it here. So daily was bearish. And at this time, the 4-hour was bullish. So as I mentioned, as you know, I trade Alex's 7-get strategy for anybody who's new. And we need 2 time frames in sync. So the weekly, I classified it as bearish. I was incorrect. And the daily was bearish as well. So what I was looking for was just a simple retest, break and retest of this zone. And I actually think my area of interest was a lot lower, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was something like this. Which even looking at this now, I'm not sure why I had this area of interest here. Maybe I was looking at one touch right here, and another one right here, and then maybe this one. But now that I'm reviewing this loss, I don't even like this area of interest. I think it should have been where I previously had it more up, so that way it covered more of this area and just incorporated more touches. But you live and you learn. So this is where price was previously at on the daily. And what I was looking for was just as this red candle broke under, I was just looking for a retest for them price to continue down. So last week, that's all I was looking for. Again, I wasn't worried about the 4-hour just because I thought that the weekly and the daily were bearish already. So once I saw price come into the zone, let me go to do market replay. Once I saw price come into the zone, that's when I went down to the lower time frames. I believe I took this on the 15, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, so I took this on the 15-minute, and the reason being is this was what I was looking at. Price had this huge push up, right? And if we zoom in, we can see that it made a new higher high, in my opinion. Now, I was counting this big red candle as structure just because it is a pretty big candle, and to me personally, I would consider something like this, which would then make this the higher high, and then this the higher low. So that's originally what I was looking at. Now, again, as I look back over my loss, I feel like I still would consider that as structure, right? Because it's just a big red candle, and I feel like you have to respect that just as being structure. Some people might not, some people might agree with me, but it is what it is. That's what I was looking at when I was looking to take the trade. So all I was waiting for was just a simple shift of structure, which we ended up getting. Since this is the higher high, just got a shift of structure, which means that we move our lines to here, right? So now price goes from being bullish to then being bearish. So what I was just looking for was a pullback and engulfing candle, which is what we see here on this big red candle. That was my entry, and I ended up getting in. It wasn't exactly on this candle. It was probably, because I saw this a little late, so it's probably somewhere like around here. Around this candle is where I actually ended up getting in. And then I was just looking for price to continue downward. Now, I was a little hesitant to take the trade, which should have been my, number one indicator to not take it. But I was a little hesitant. I was also looking at this area right here on if I would consider this structure. At the time I didn't. Would I now? Honestly, probably not. Y'all know I look for the 2 candles, but again, I feel like this is something that you could respect as well, right? Because it was pushing down. It just disrupts the flow of the downtrend, in my opinion. Even though it's not a huge candle, I feel like you still have to consider that, which would then make price then go bullish, and then we would just wait for another shift of structure. But as I mentioned, I did not consider that last week, and I was just entering on this candle thinking, okay, perfect, gave me the shift of structure. Price gave me a pullback, big engulfing candle right here, super big. So I was like, oh yeah, I like that. Not only that, I also went down to the 5-minute just to look at how price action was moving. But I think this was a little later on. Oh no, it was right here too. So I ended up entering in on the 5-minute as well. And I usually don't do that, but I like the way price is moving, and I was like, you know what, let me just try it out. So I actually took 2 positions, one on the 15 as I mentioned, and then one on the 5. And as you see on the 5, it's just the same thing. And this is when I started getting, like a little hype, right? Because I like the way the 5-minute structure is looking. Easy, higher high, higher low. Give me a shift of structure. Beautiful entry, exactly what I'm looking for in the area of interest. Right there. Stop loss, I believe it was 25 pips, just to give it some more breathing room. Stop loss right there, 25 pips, take it to the downside. Trying to catch an easy trade, right? And of course, my targets was set on the daily. So my targets was set down here. And I was looking to just ride price out for the week, hopefully collect some profits. Now, it was looking good at first. Let me speed this up, right? Saw a big candle to the downside. I'm like, perfect. That's just what I wanted. Love the way that's looking. And then I noticed all throughout here, again, sorry about the lines, but all throughout here, I'm not worried. I'm thinking, okay, it's just making a lower low, so it's got to make a lower high, right? Just as normal price action. Lower low, lower high. It had broke under here, so I'm thinking, okay, this is the lower high. So I'm thinking it's just going to continue doing all this. But as I kept watching it, and as you see, it did, right? And it even broke under here. I'm thinking, bet, I'm good, I'm golden. We got one. And then I was just continuously watching price throughout the week. Notice it came back up here. Not really worried about it. I have my stop loss all the way up here. If it wants to come back here, mess around, maybe retest something, right? And then drop again. That's perfect. I don't mind that. I'm not going to be worried about that. Now, I do want to mention this because I feel like the daily time frame, and I'll probably make a whole video on just the daily time frame, because me personally, I think it's probably the most powerful time frame out of all of these, right? Because I feel like the daily time frame will tell you low-key what's about to happen next, like what's up next for the upcoming days. And I rely heavily on the daily time frame to give me that information, just because I've seen the chart so many times. I've gone through the pairs so many times, right? It's just the market does the same thing. History repeats itself. So in the Discord, I had mentioned, I believe it was after this candle had closed, I said I'm not really a fan of how that candle closed, right? I was looking for something more, probably something more along this lines, or didn't even have to engulf it, but just something along this line, right? Something a lot lower, not this. But at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? The market could do whatever it wants. It is what it is. So as I'm watching just price, I'm realizing on the 4 hour, okay, 4 hours looking good, right? Lower high, lower low, went bullish over here, but we ended up going bearish. Love that. So right now it's just making a new lower high to do what? Create a new lower low. All right, so as I was looking at the 4 hour, again, making those lower lows and lower highs, I was feeling confident about the trade. thinking, all right, everything's cool. We even have the EMA above to help hopefully continue to push price to the downside. And unfortunately, price did not do that. It did end up going down a little more, and I'll talk about my thought process throughout that whole thing. But let's go back to the daily. Okay, so in this moment, right, I had a alarm set somewhere around here, and I was like, I don't like the way the daily closed. Low key, not really confident about the trade anymore. So if price comes back, I think I'm gonna just take my profit here, right? So I'm laying down. What time was this? Maybe around like 10 or something like that. I'm laying down, answering people in the Discord, right? And then I get an alert that price is back down here. So I'm like, bet. I'd love to see that, right? Price is down there. Usually, if I would have stuck to what I said, then I would have hopped out, would have had some profit, even though I wasn't confident in it, and then that would have been it for the trade. But nope, I decided to stay in it. I stay in the trade. I'm thinking, you know what? This might be the time that price actually pushes all the way down, continues to go down. And let me say this, your intuition is real big in trading. Like, some people may think so, some people may disagree, some people may agree. I think it's personally huge, because like, you've seen this stuff so many times, especially if you put in the chart time, if you have years under your belt. I'm not gonna say you know what's gonna happen, but at the same time, you pretty much know what's gonna happen. So I should have went with my intuition and did exactly what I said I was gonna do. When price came back to the zone, just get out, because you're not really confident in the trade. But there was that other side of me that was saying, you know, the market could do whatever it wants. The market can continue down. This might be the time, knowing damn well that I should have just took my profit. But I didn't end up doing that. And as you see, price ended up coming back and took me out. Now, it took me out when I was asleep, so I woke up with an L. Not the best feeling to wake up to, if you know. But price ended up taking me out the trade. And it's just a lesson learned. There's a couple lessons learned, actually, with this one. So one, make sure you're marking up the pairs correctly, right? Bullish or bearish, go all the way back out, because you don't want to have the same mistake that I made, identifying something as being bearish when it's in fact bullish, right? That messed up the whole trade from the jump. I shouldn't even have took this trade until the 4 hour broke under, right here, then look for a retest. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not worried about it, but that's the first lesson. Second lesson is trust your intuition. Get out the trade. You see that price is rejecting from this area on the daily. Sorry, I'm switching time frames so many. I'm just trying to get y'all to see it and understand it. You see that price is rejecting on the daily. Price is rejecting on the 4 hour. If price comes back down here, just get out the trade. Take some profit. It doesn't have to be a home run trade every time. Just take some profit, especially if you're not comfortable or confident in the trade going your way anymore. So that was the first trade on NZD CAD. I'll show you guys how much I exactly lost once I get through the other pair. And yeah, and I'll update you guys on what the prop firm is looking like as well. So that was the first loss. Second loss was on AUD JPY. Now this one, I'm not gonna lie, I was hella confident in it, right? But it happens. With AUD JPY, I believe yen news came out sometime later throughout the week, which is why I personally feel like it didn't play out. So we just got to charge that to the game. But I will say with this pair, I was a lot more confident in it. Even the analysis, as you see, the weekly was bullish, daily bullish. And we have, have a area of interest that has been tested multiple times, right? So now that we are above it, as I mentioned in the weekly setups, I was just looking for price to come back and then use it as support. So with this one, as I mentioned, I was a lot more confident. The analysis was good. 4 hour was bullish. Everything was bullish, right? But unfortunately, price just didn't play out. News kicked in, seemed to come out strong for the yen, and ended up tanking AUD. So let's go over my entry and stops and all that. So this one I actually took on the 30-minute, and as you see, beautiful entry in my opinion, absolutely beautiful. We was bearish. This was the higher low, or excuse me, lower high, and this was a lower low, right? So we get a shift of structure, boom, straight back to the area of interest, pull back, and engulfing candle. Once you get the shift, then you can move your lines if you want. Pull back right into the engulfing candle, or excuse me, right into the zone, retesting EMA. Beautiful. Love to see this. This is the setup that I want to see. So went ahead and hopped in there, hopped in 2 trades just at the same area, stop loss under. And then my stops, of course, was set to the daily. I think I originally had it somewhere around here, maybe in between, maybe up here, maybe down to these bodies, or excuse me, up to these bodies. But that's how I was looking with the entry. Loved it, very confident in it, was waiting just to collect profit, right? And as price was moving, I ended up adding another position. For the next position that I hopped in, I actually waited on the 15. And this is why right here. Again, sorry about the lines. It's just the indicator that I use. Hopefully you can still see it and it's still clear. But on the 15, we had went bearish, right? We had went bearish, came back into the area of interest. And at that moment, I said to myself, you know, if price gives me a shift of structure, this is going to be messy with all these lines, but if price gives me a shift of structure, pull back engulfing, then I'm going to take another entry. And that's exactly what I got. Shift of structure. Pull back and engulfing candle. If y'all can even see that. So on my live account, I took 2 entries at that first position, and then I added another entry here after this engulfing. And on the prop firm, I just added a position at this level, right? Because it just gave us the same thing we was looking for. 15-minute went bearish, ended up going bullish again, pull back, engulfing candle, lovely. Stops was somewhere under here. And then at around, 9:45, I think it was, or something like that, news for the yen came out. Unfortunately, took me out, right? That's a crazy candle, but took me out. Now, I learned my lesson from the NZD CAD trade, because I asked myself, okay, what is my intuition, or my intuition telling me to do, right? Because I still had these trades open over here. Still had these trades open over here. Got stopped out on this one, and it was already, you know, a third position. So I was saying, you know, just be smart. What is my intuition telling me to do? And thankfully, that's why I'm saying that intuition is important. Thankfully, I ended up getting out the trade and saved myself a lot of money, right? Because I would have lost like, $750 on the live, and I mean, the profit got smacked, but $750 on the live, right? You're just trying to preserve capital. So thankfully I did that, because when I went to sleep and woke up, price came and would have tagged me out of these as well, right? So it comes with time, you know, being able to just listen to your intuition. It comes with the chart time. It comes with putting in the work. But I'm telling you, I feel like that's a key part in trading as well, and becoming a profitable trader. Like, I have no doubts about that, because if not, I would have lost more money just trying to hold this and set and forget and this and that, which is, you know what I'm saying, set and forgetting is great. But at the same time, as Alex always says, you got to know when to set and forget, and you got to know when to cut your losses, right? It's just that simple. So let's jump over to the live account and the prop firm so I can show y'all the exact trades and the bread that I lost. Okay, so we're here now. And as you see, NZD CAD, 2 positions, both lost, 250, 264 with the net P&L. It is what it is, right? Charges to the game. Just got to get better in my analysis. I realized what I did wrong. I realized that, make sure the pairs are marked up correctly and make sure it's the trade that you actually want to take. But we charge those to the game. It's a learning lesson. And then AUD JPY, just news, right? The trade wasn't bad. I love the trade, honestly. I would probably take that 9 times out of 10. But news came in, market had a different plan, and that is what it is, right? So I'm not down bad on the live. I'm just probably a little bit above exactly where I started. Because if you remember, 2 weeks ago, I made around $1,000. So it sucks to get that bread back, but it is what it is. We're going to keep pushing. Now, on the prop firm is down bad. I'm not going to lie. Prop firm is down bad. We might be in shambles. But we'll see. We'll probably work it out and come back, right? So this was phase 2. Started with 200K. And as you see, NZD CAD lost 3K, 4K after the net P&L. And then AUD JPY, 6K after the net P&L. So we're down 11K. Well, 10K, like 10,500, but 10,400. So we'll bring this back, right? I'm not worried about it. I've been down a lot worse in prop firms, and I ended up bringing them back. You know how this trading stuff goes. One trade can give me 10K, 11K, 12K, right? So it's just making sure that you're taking the best setups, making sure that, you're being smart with the money, being smart with risk management, and just making sure you're analyzing the trades while they play out. And honestly, just following your intuition, man. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I said earlier, we don't shy away from these videos and the losses. I'm just showing you all my trading journey. I appreciate everybody who's being a part of it. And this is just a part of the journey. So charge this to the game, learn from your lessons, and then get better in the next week. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a great week. I hope you're making money in the markets. Make sure y'all are safe out there, man. I'll catch y'all.